Okay, so we're still dealing with this question for XYZ Limited, all right? Still using all of this same information, all right? We have first done the first part of calculating the standard cost card per unit, okay? Now, we need to first calculate our profit variance, okay? So basically, what the profit variance is did we make more profit or did we make less profit than expected or than budgeted? Okay, the difference between the budgeted profit and the actual profit. Okay, that is the profit variance. So we have to find out what was the budgeted profit, what is the actual profit, and then we compare. If the budgeted profit is greater than the actual profit, then we did bad. Okay, we did bad. Because let's say if you budgeted a profit of 10,000 and you make a profit of 4,000, didn't you do bad, colleagues? You have done bad. But if you budget a profit of 10,000 and your actual profit is 15,000, then you did better. Okay, so for this variance, for this profit variance, if the budgeted profit is greater than the actual profit, you did bad. Okay, you did bad. Okay, yes. So let's get our budgeted profit, all right? Remember, we budget to sell how many units? 5,000 units. Our budgeted selling price, 50 kwacha per unit. Our standard cost price, 60 kwacha per unit. So remember, profit is total revenue minus total cost. Okay, we're using this formula: profit equals total revenue minus total cost. Yeah. So our budgeted sales revenue, 5,000 times 50 kwacha per unit, 250,000 kwacha. Budgeted total cost, 5,000 times 60 kwacha per unit. Because remember, sales revenue, price times quantity. Remember, sales revenue, let me put it budgeted selling price times budgeted quantity. So the budgeted total cost, it's budgeted cost per unit multiplied by budgeted quantity. All right. So 5,000 units times 6 kwacha per unit, 300,000 kwacha. Okay. Yes. So our budgeted profit, budgeted sales revenue minus budgeted total cost. It's negative 50,000. All right. So we have a budgeted loss. Okay. Remember, colleagues, in the previous video where we calculated this and our standard profit or loss per unit, and you say that it's, remember we just said the standard selling price minus the standard cost, 50 minus 60, that gives us negative 10. Yes, we would have easily just said this negative 10 times 5,000 units that have been produced. We would have also got our budgeted profit like that. Okay. So this is the shortcut. Okay. And what we're doing here is the same thing. Okay. Yes. So the budgeted loss is 50,000 kwacha. Okay. Then, because remember, we're comparing the budgeted versus the actual. So now let's find out if we made an actual profit or we made an actual loss. Okay. Because if we've made any profit, then we've done bait. Because according to our standard cost card, we're supposed to be making a loss. So actual sales, 5,500 units. This information for the actual information that I'm using is here. Okay. They told us we actually sold how many units? 5,500 units. And the selling price per unit is 48 kwacha per unit. Okay, so maybe let me bring this information nearby so that we can, as we are solving, we see where these figures are coming from. Okay, colleagues? So that we're not asking, where did that figure come from? Yes, so here we just need which information here. Yes. So actual sales, 5,500 units. Actual selling price, 48 kwacha per unit. So our actual sales revenue, remember sales revenue is the quantity times the selling price. Okay. So 5,500 units multiplied by 48 kwacha per unit, you get 264,000 kwacha. Okay. That is our actual sales revenue. Now we need to get our actual cost. Okay. Our actual cost so that we can get the profit. So we need to tabulate our total costs. Okay. Again, from this information here, the actual cost that we incurred. Okay. For direct materials, the cost we incurred 31,000 kg. Direct material cost. Oh, this is the units used, so that's not a cost. The actual direct material cost 136,400. The direct labor cost 131,250. The variable production overhead 78,000. The fixed production overhead 42,000. Okay. These are our actual costs. So what is that? So here, direct material cost 136,400. Direct labor cost 131,250. Variable production overhead 78,000. Fixed production overhead 42,000. So you add these and get your total cost of 387,650. Okay, 387,650. Yeah. So our actual profit, okay, actual sales revenue minus actual cost, 264,000 minus 387,650. We actually made a loss of 123,650. Okay, so we've made a loss on the budgeted aspect and we've made a loss on the actuals aspect. So for the profit variance, in this case, we're going to see, was our actual loss greater than our budgeted loss? Then we did way bad. Or was our actual loss greater than our budgeted loss? Where we can say we did a bit better. At least the actual loss was higher than the budgeted loss. Okay, so you see the actual loss is 123. The budgeted loss is what? Where did we get budgeted loss? Negative. This company did worse. It did worse. Obviously, the budgeted loss is 50,000, but in actuality, our loss was 126,000. So we did worse. Okay. So profit variance, actual profit minus budgeted profit. Okay. In other books, you might see budgeted profit minus actual profit. When you switch the two, um, it just means your interpretation is going to be different. Okay, interpretation is going to be different. If you're using the actual profit minus the budgeted profit, a negative value is bad. Okay, you're using actual minus budgeted, a negative value is bad because it means the actual less was less than the budgeted. Okay, but if you're using budgeted minus actual, then a negative value is good. Okay. Yes. So my advice in the exam for profit variance, use actual minus budgeted so that if you see a negative value, you can already tell this is bad. Okay. You don't have to now um, switch the interpretation and say, oh, a negative value is good when you're using the budgeted minus actual. Okay, colleagues, to make life simple, when you're doing profit variance, do actual minus budgeted so that a negative value is bad and a positive value is good. Okay, so our actual profit here, negative 123,650 minus our budgeted profit of negative 50,000. Okay, so we're going to get negative 76,650. So in simple terms, we did worse. Okay, we did worse by 76,650. Our budgeted loss was supposed to make a loss of 50,000, but we made a loss of 123,000. So we did 76,650 kwacha worse than what we budgeted. Okay. Yes. So the company performed 76,650 kwacha worse than expected.